from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
A pleasant evening and a very warm welcome to the National News Broadcast. We are coming to you live from Rupavahini's News Studios. I'm Delanjali Ananda.
And I am Lakshita Vidisingha. We start off by taking a quick look at tonight's headlines.
Minister Kanchana Wijesekara says VAT has no impact on the electricity bill revision and that steps will be taken to reduce the power bill from January next year. A methodology to signal pre-dangers of disasters. A hotline to inform of harassments faced by women and children. Food for Agbo elephant once again from the Wildlife Department. Name boards in which the language is not accurate. More than 120 persons killed and 397 injured in an earthquake in China. Dilshan and Wanidu bought at the 2024 IPL auction. Kosal was dismissed.
We move on to those and other stories in detail. We start off with the top story for tonight. Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara announced that the upcoming revision of the electricity bill in January will potentially bring relief to the people.
The minister also emphasized that the value-added tax will not impact the amendment. The minister made these remarks during a press conference held at the Presidential Media Centre under the theme Collective Path to a Stable Country today. Mr. Kanchana Wijesekara said that the proposed new electricity bill has been gazetted and the ministry is currently receiving various suggestions on it. Diverse perspectives on the proposed new electricity bill are actively sought and stakeholders including trade unions, political parties, public representatives and electricity consumers are invited to submit their comments and suggestions in writing. The submission period is open from today until 3rd of January. These valuable insights will be instrumental in shaping the bill, enhancing its potential to strengthen reforms and contribute to the future of the power sector. With the aim of inclusivity, the ministry endeavours to present the draft bill to the Parliament in January, ensuring that it incorporates considerations and proposals from all concerned parties. Highlighting the imminent tariff revision in January, Minister Wijesekara noted that hydroelectricity is currently being generated at maximum capacity. In October, the increase in electricity tariffs was implemented due to the high cost of electricity production associated with the use of fossil fuel. However, the recent change in weather conditions has been noteworthy. The Ceylon Electricity Board has reported that rainfall has been received in the last 2 months and further rainfall is anticipated for the next 2 weeks. In light of this, there is possibility of revising electricity tariffs. Considering the balance sheet of the Ceylon Electricity Board in December, he says we are optimistic that relief can be provided to the public in the upcoming tariff revision scheduled for January. Additionally, Minister Wijesekara assured that the revision in January will not be impacted by VAT, clarifying that the power sector, including material used for power generation such as naphtha and coal, is exempt from tax. Discussions are underway to mitigate the VAT impact on fuel prices, which are scheduled for revision in January. There will be no shortage of fuel as we currently possess sufficient fuel stocks to meet the demand. Furthermore, owing to a reduction in the consumption of furnace oil for electricity generation in November and the expected decrease in January, a substantial amount of furnace oil and naphtha has been conserved. Now, under the auspices of President Ranil Wickremesinghe, a sophisticated disaster early warning system was officially introduced today, marking a collaborative effort involving the Disaster Management Centre, Sri Lanka Telecommunication Regulatory Commission and major telephone service providers including SLT, Mobitel, Hutch, Dialog and Airtel.
The Memorandum of Understanding formalizing the strategic initiative was also signed at the President's office today. Director General of the Disaster Management Centre, retired Major General S. Ranasinghe, and Director General of the Sri Lanka Telecommunication Regulatory Commission, Madhushanka Disanayake, were the signatories to the Memorandum of Understanding. The primary objective of this state-of-the-art disaster early warning system is to fortify the existing mechanism, ensuring the safety and well-being of Sri Lankan citizens amidst various disasters, including those caused by weather and climate change. The system leverages cutting-edge technology to deliver more effective early warnings through telephone communication networks. Specifically focusing on tsunami disasters, the system targets nearly 60,000 mobile and landline numbers in 14 districts identified as high-risk areas. It is designed to promptly issue an immediate early warning in the form of a distinctive ringtone notification accompanied by a siren sound. This will establish a more robust early warning mechanism for the public, utilizing phone notifications featuring a siren sound particularly effective during nighttime hours. Scheduled for a public rollout on National Security Day on the 26th of December 2023, the system's scope is anticipated to expand in the future, evolving into a comprehensive multi-disaster early warning mechanism. This expansion aims to include landslides and floods, further enhancing its utility and impact. The high-profile event was attended by key dignitaries including State Minister for Defence Pramita Bandara Tennakon, President's Senior Advisor on National Security and Chief of Presidential Staff Sagala Ratnayaka, and Secretary to the Defence Ministry Retired General Kamal Gunaratne, among others.
Now, in a gracious gesture, President Ranil Wickremesinghe conveyed his heartfelt congratulations to the Sri Lankan talent Udyaseelan Kilmisha, who emerged victorious in the Saregama Little Champs Season 3 reality competition hosted by Zee Tamil channel in the state of Tamil Nadu, India.
Kilmisha. Sri Lanka, sir.
Hailing from the Jaffna region, the 14-year-old girl has made history as the first Sri Lankan girl to clinch victory in an Indian reality competition. President Wickremesinghe personally reached out to Udyaseelan Kilmisha via phone to commend her exceptional skills and acknowledged the honor she has brought to the nation. In addition to recognize her achievement, the President conveyed his blessings for her ongoing educational pursuits and extended compliments for her promising future in the field of music.
The Department of Meteorology says a temporary decline in the rainy weather condition could be expected from tomorrow onwards. People in many parts in the island are being continuously affected due to floods and falling of earth mounds. The Department of Meteorology says a temporary decline in the rainy weather condition could be expected from tomorrow onwards. Torrential rainfall has flooded the week fair premises at the Uva Paranagama Road. Our correspondent says many shops have been damaged. Minor canals in Wangiya Kumura in Valimada are overflowing, inundating many cultivation lands. Vehicle transport has also been obstructed due to many low-lying lands coming underwater. Around 10 motorcycles were damaged due to the fall of a massive tree at the Vadugotapitiya Street in Kandy. Overflowing of the Castle Ray Reservoir has commenced today. Engineers of the Vimala Surendra, Laksapana, New Laksapana Canyon and Polpitiya hydropower electricity stations say power generation is being carried out in maximum capacity. Heavy rainfall has compelled to open 4 sluice gates at the Kaudulla Reservoir, facilitating the flow of 952 cubic feet of water in a second to the Kaudulla Oya. A section of a bund in the Piramanadankulam Reservoir in Settikulam, Vavuniya was reported to have been breached, and there is a threat of many paddy fields around the lake being flooded. The Army and the Police Special Task Force are engaged in temporary measures to restore the reservoir bund using sandbags.
Approval of the Cabinet of Ministers has been received to import 50,000 metric tons of rice to control the price of rice in the market. The decision has been taken according to recommendations of the Food Policy Committee. Accordingly, steps have been taken to import 50,000 metric tons of GR11 Type C type rice, which is similar to the Kirisamba rice, through a private sector. The Cabinet has approved a proposal presented by the Minister of Trade, Commerce and Food Security in this connection. The Cabinet of Ministers have also approved the importation of eggs from the Indian farms. The measure has been taken to stabilize the price of eggs in the local market. Eggs will be imported only from the farms recommended by the Department of Animal Products and Health. The State Trading General Corporation has so far imported 155 million eggs, and further consignment of 18 million eggs is scheduled to be imported before the 31st of this month. The Cabinet has approved a proposal in this respect by the Minister of Trade, Commerce and Food Security. The Cabinet of Ministers have also approved to import 50,000 metric tons of corn as raw material for animal feed. A shortage in raw material needed for chicken feed has been reported due to lack of adequate quantities of corn in the market. The State Trading General Corporation has been allowed to import maize as a temporary measure to offset the shortage. The President, as the Minister of Finance, Economic Stabilization and National Policy, has presented the relevant proposal. The Maradagaham Mulla Rice Wholesale Trade Centre was declared open today. The objective of this institute is to break the rice monopoly of the private sector.
Minister of Urban Development and Housing Prasanna Ranatunga has presided over the opening of the trade complex. The centre, which was set up under the Divi Neguma project in 2014, had remained abandoned for the past 9 years. A sum of 495 million rupees had been spent on the construction of this trade centre, where 75,000 metric tons of paddy could be stored.
Saman Priyantha alias Chuti Kapua, who is the trustee of Ruhunu Katharagama Mahadevalaya, has surrendered to the Colombo Crime Division today. He is one of the 2 suspects accused in the incident of the disappearance of a gold plate from the storage of the Devalaya. The Colombo Crime Division has produced Saman Priyantha before the Tissa Maharama Magistrate Court today. He was released on 2 surety bails of 500,000 rupees each. The order has been delivered by Tissa Maharama Magistrate Tharindu De Silva. The suspect has been ordered to appear before the Colombo Crime Division on every Sunday of the week. The other suspect, named Somipala T. Ratnayaka, who is the chief trustee of the Ruhunu Katharagama Mahadevalaya, has not yet presented himself to the police. He has also been accused over the disappearance of a 38-pound gold plate received as an offering to the Ruhunu Katharagama Mahadevalaya. Both of these suspects have been missing in the recent past. They could not be detected even through inspections carried out in their residences by the Colombo Crime Division.
Acting IGP Deshabandhu Thennakon has said at a media briefing today that within 24 hours upon implementation of the Yuktiya operation, illegal vehicles valued over 67 million rupees were able to be apprehended. Acting IGP Deshabandhu Thennakon has arrived at the Illegal Asset Investigation Division in Narahimpeta to inspect the vehicles. Acting IGP Deshabandhu Thennakon said that the police will definitely arrive at the residence of around 3,300 drug racketeers during the period of the operation. Some of the criminals have fled to overseas, or they may be hiding in places other than their homes. However, the IGP added that the racketeers are not able to carry with them their houses or vehicles as well as tourist resorts. All these properties will be confiscated within a short period. The financial and other properties of the narcotics dealers will be sternly dealt with. Up to now, 2,166 suspects have been taken into custody in connection with organized island-wide poisonous substances in raids to apprehend criminal gangs. 169 suspects in the lists of criminals of the Police Anti-Narcotic Bureau and Special Bureau have been able to be taken into custody in the operation. Investigations on 66 suspects will be carried forward on detention orders. Investigations have also commenced regarding the assets of 14 other suspects. 226 suspects have been forwarded for rehabilitation. Inspections have taken place at dawn today in the Beruala Fisheries Harbour and adjacent housing complexes under the island-wide drug control program. Police officials in the Beruala, Payagal, Alutgama and Valipenna police stations and nearly 200 officials of the Katakurunda Campus Special Task Force have taken part in the operation.
The Minister of Public Security has taken measures to introduce a hotline number for complaining the harassments confronted by women and children. The telephone number, which remains open 24 hours of the day, is scheduled to come into operation with effect from the 1st of January. The call centre will be inaugurated on the instructions of Minister Tiran Alas and under the direction of Acting Inspector General of Police. Minister Tiran Alas said that he has instructed the IGP to have a special telephone number to receive complaints from children and women who are being subjected to harassments. Accordingly, any victim of injustice could inform their grievances 24 hours of the day to the police with effect from 1st of January next year.
Senior Presidential Advisor on National Security and the Chief of the Presidential Staff, Sagal Ratnayaka, says that by mere representation of the diaspora, a person does not become an extremist or an anti-Sri Lankan. He further points out that an environment should be created for the encouragement of more investments by incorporating the diaspora personnel in Sri Lanka's development program by giving them more incentives. He has made these remarks participating in the International Migration Day ceremony at the President's office yesterday. Professor Lakshman Samaranayaka, delivering the keynote address, has presented souvenirs to Sagal Ratnayaka and Ali Sabri in appreciation of their services rendered on behalf of the overseas Sri Lankan nationals. Meanwhile, Senior Presidential Advisor on National Security and the Chief of the Presidential Staff, Sagal Ratnayaka, has instructed the relevant authorities to further propagate the Volbakia project, which had produced successful results in the dengue control program.
Or somebody who's against Sri Lanka. That is the feeling that was brought upon us during the war. The diaspora always related to somebody who was speaking against Sri Lanka. So then there was this animosity that built up the minute you use that word. But that really isn't the case. A Sri Lankan who's now living in another country is part of the diaspora. They can be Sinhala, they can be Muslim, they can be Tamil, they can be Burgher, any religion, all part of the diaspora. So this whole bad feeling, I think, pushed us apart even further. Historically also, the events that took place in Sri Lanka over the years has distanced some of our own people from the country. Then those living overseas now also, there are those who want to come to Sri Lanka, get dual citizenship, get involved in the development of the country, help us to come out of the difficult times, but don't know how to do it. The bureaucracy sometimes is quite significant. Our Controller General of Immigration is trying to weave through some of the problems and is making some headway. But what we wanted to do was have this overall office where we engage with the diaspora, some relation from overseas who live a few generations even overseas, sending money to a young chap in Jaffna. We don't want them to go and buy an expensive motorcycle and then end up in a gang fighting each other within Jaffna. We want them to use this money for something good, a good investment, so that will help not just their lives, not just help Jaffna, but also help Sri Lanka. That's a very small part of it, but we had a big picture in mind. We wanted all the Sri Lankans who invest in other parts of the world to come back to their country and invest. We wanted to assist them with getting their dual citizenship, maybe the renewal of a passport, some information on their relations, anything. And so this office will not have a particular job description, but just, bring us all back together, bring us all together to develop this country.
Last week, went to Jaffna and other areas. Today, Cabinet approved the new law to introduce a Truth and Reconciliation Commission. This time with lot of teeth. That means not that they only will give recommendation, but they have the power to implement. What are the powers? They can say that these people or this person is a victim and therefore provide reparation. Or this particular person's child is missing and they can give a report on that to find that. Thirdly, they also can be asked that Attorney General to prosecute if there was evidence on this. So there are a very positive and progressive step we have taken, but that is open for discussion. This is the first step of that. Ultimately, what is important is the ultimate law which is certified by the Speaker of the country should be a good law. So we are taking that step. Today Cabinet approved that. We will gazette it. You will have that in all 3 languages. Please share with the people who are interested in that and come out with your suggestion. As we did with the ATA, we gazette once, but there were concerns which were very legitimate. It came back to us. We, as a government, decided to done away with the original draft and then captured most of their suggestion and gazetted. So now that is available. Probably we will present that in the parliament in the first 2 weeks of January, and thereafter people can again go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will look into whether it is consistent with the constitution or not. So all these things is to create a conducive environment for a fair living for all people.
Treatment of the Akbo elephant has not been possible today as well due to the objections raised by the residents.
As agreed upon yesterday, chasing of the elephant to a nearby protectorate could not be carried out today. Protests have been launched today as well, urging to take away the elephant from the area. A discussion has also taken place between the Divisional Secretary of Thirappane and the residents. The Divisional Secretary has joined the Assistant Director of Wildlife in charge of the Anuradhapura region in the talks over the phone. The outcome of this discussion has been to chase away the Agbo elephant to the nearest protectorate and erect an electric fence. However, Agbo was reported to have caused serious damage to the cultivated lands last night. The residents have remained restless today as well due to the wild beast destroying mango, corn and other cultivations in their lands. Wildlife officials, Divisional Secretary of Thirappane and police officials have come near the Uggalaveva in Thirappane, where the Agbo elephant has remained at this morning. The residents have pointed out that cornering the wild elephant in a nearby protectorate is not a successful measure.
Language is a human right. This is an inquiry to find whether actually the right of language is safeguarded. Article 12.2 and 12.3 in the 111th paragraph of the Sri Lankan Constitution upholds the safeguarding of the language right as a human right. Accordingly, the state languages of Sri Lanka are the Sinhala and Tamil languages. English is regarded as a linked language. These language triple are being used in numerous name boards throughout the island. However, it has been a matter of regret for not focusing attention on the mistakes in grammatical composition and definition of meanings in these channels of communication. A good example in this connection could be cited as the name board, which identifies the office. The meaning in the Tamil term in the name board is a toilet.
With the onset of the tourist season, 35 luxury ships are scheduled to reach the Colombo harbour. The Port Authority says agreements have already been signed in this regard. The jetty where the Bandaranaike terminal is located is scheduled to be used for the operation of the vessel due to lack of space in the old passenger terminal. Minister Nimal Sripala De Silva has instructed to relocate the storages in another place. The minister was engaged in an inspection tour to look into the preparations. Upon completion of the development activities, it would become possible for 3 large ships of 350 meters long to arrive at the jetty at the same time. It is also possible to provide necessary facilities to the tourists who arrive in these ships. The first batch of 30 prospective employees chosen for jobs in agricultural sector in Israel has left the island last night. Another group of 20 labour also left the country this morning. The Sri Lanka Foreign Employment Bureau says a further batch of 30 Sri Lankan migrant labour are scheduled to leave tonight. Minister Manushanane Akara has handed over air tickets to the first batch of employees yesterday. The minister has stated on this occasion that 10,000 Sri Lankan labour will be sent to Israel within the next few weeks. He added that Israeli authorities have agreed to recruit 20,000 Sri Lankan nationals in jobs in the Israeli construction sector.
We take a look at a few more local news items in brief. A felicitation ceremony on behalf of veteran actor Hemasiri Lenage was conducted at the Tarangani Cinema of the National Film Corporation recently. A cinema exhibition and a special book on Hemasiri Lenage were also presented on this occasion. The new open-air theatre of the Veluwana College in Dematagoda was vested with the students recently. The theatre has been named after Kalakirti Rajini Selvanayagam in recognition of her services to the Veluwana College in the capacity of a teacher. State Minister Tharaka Balasurya has presided over the inauguration of a Sri Lankan Investment Promotion Office in the state of Tamil Nadu in India recently. 10 specialized wards assigned to the professor unit in the Faculty of Medicine of the Vayamba University were declared open at the premises of the Kurunagala Teaching Hospital today. A sum of more than 30 million rupees has been spent on the reconstruction of the 10 wards. 600 million rupees has also been presented by foreign philanthropists. The Ministry of Education has presented appointments for 620 assistants in the multipurpose development tasks today. The appointees will be assigned to national colleges of education and to teacher centres. That's it in local news. Stay tuned for news from overseas.
நான் பேங்க் போயிட்டு வரேன்.
இப்ப full freedom உடன் sing என்று banking செய்ய உங்க லைஃபுக்கு செட் ஆகிற next gen in digital banking partner People's Bank.
At least 126 people have been killed in northwest China in the country's deadliest earthquake for years.
The 6.2 magnitude quake hit mountainous Gansu province around midnight on Monday, also shaking neighboring Qinghai. Fatalities may rise with more than 700 reported injured in icy conditions. Chinese President Xi Jinping has ordered thousands of rescue crew to the region, among the poorest and most diverse in China. Footage shown on state TV and social media networks showed entire villages split by the quake, as well as collapsed buildings and houses. Residents who fled their homes were also shown huddling over makeshift fires at hastily erected evacuation camps. Survivors said the tremors had felt like being tossed by surging waves and recalled rushing out of their apartments. Local officials in Jishishan County, the worst hit in Gansu province, said more than 5,000 buildings in the area had been damaged. Chinese media quoted a director of the Gansu rescue team who attributed the wide-scale damage to poor building quality in the villages, many homes being old and made of clay.
Wishing you a joyful Christmas from Prima.
On sports news, Mitchell Starc of Australia has become the player sold for the highest amount in the history of the Indian Premier League cricket tournament today. Now, Dilshan Madhushankar was the player sold for the highest amount among Sri Lankan cricketers.
The Indian Premier League cricket auction has commenced in Dubai this afternoon. Names of 333 cricketers were presented to the auction, including 214 Indian players and 119 foreign players. 8 Sri Lankan cricketers were also included. Mitchell Starc of Australia has become the player sold for the highest amount in the Indian Premier League cricket history. He was bought by the Kolkata Knight Riders team for a sum of 247 million Indian rupees. The amount equals to nearly $2.9 million. Captain of the Australian team, which won the World Cup one-day cricket tournament, Pat Cummins, was also sold for 205 million Indian rupees, which equals to $2.4 million. Cummins will be representing the Sunrisers Hyderabad team in the upcoming Indian Premier League cricket tournament. Sri Lanka's left-arm fast bowler Dilshan Madhushankar was sold for a sum of 46 million Indian rupees to the Mumbai Indians team. Wanindu Hasaranga will represent the Sunrisers Hyderabad team in the upcoming Indian Premier League cricket tournament. He was sold for a sum of 15 million Indian rupees. Kusal Mendes was also presented to the auction, but he was not bought by any team.
Wishing you a joyful Christmas from Prima.
That's all the news we have for tonight. Join us tomorrow at the same time for the very latest on ChannelEye. I'm the Lanjali. Signing off. Good night.